Marion Fields is my name. I am 52 years old, separated, residing in a serene two-story abode, infused with the scent of aged tomes and lavender oil. At the distant edge of a street lost to time, I tend to a quaint flower shop, a hidden gem that few recall by name. I offer thornless roses, hyacinths, and carnations, arrangements that individuals purchase not for love, but to ease the weight of silence. Lana, my daughter, is 24 years old and currently residing in Finland. Occasionally, she reaches out with a call. Her smile dances across the screen, illuminated by the stark glow of cold light. Our love for each other endures. Yet I am aware. She exists while I remain in anticipation. It feels like an eternity since I last experienced the warmth of another's touch. Not in an intimate manner. I mean an authentic connection. A gentle hand placed upon my back as I shiver with uncertainty. A hand rests gently on my arm in moments of unease. Fingers weave through my hair. A gentle acknowledgement of my presence. There was no pain in my body, yet it lacked life as well. It operated as intended, and I had come to exist alongside it, rather than within its confines. As I stirred from slumber, a fierce, searing cramp gripped my neck and shoulder. An ache that whispers rather than shouts, yet demands attention. I attempted to stretch, experimented with balms. No remedy was found. That evening, following the viewing of a YouTube video titled 10-Minute Evening Yoga for Stiff Necks, I lifted the lid of my laptop and began to type. A mobile massage service that is discreet, professional, and readily available. A page materialized. The surface was immaculate. Admirable. The reviews were quite favorable. A form even inquired whether I had a preference for a male or female therapist. There was a moment of uncertainty. Then select male. Not out of curiosity. Yet, I grew weary of the cloying sweetness of women feigning comprehension of my silence. Precisely at 7 p.m., the rain fell softly from the sky, a gentle drizzle enveloping the world outside. Clad in a flowing gray robe and cushioned by soft cotton slippers, I had infused the air with the soothing scent of lavender oil. The knock was soft and delicate. The door creaked open, revealing what lay beyond. He remained in that spot. Ethan Rhodes, 27, lofty, pristine, dressed in a black polo and slacks. He grasped a sleek, compact rolling case. Eyes resembling the warm hues of burnt amber. Serene. Honorable. Good evening, Ms. Fields, he remarked with a polite nod. I inclined my head in agreement, and gracefully stepped aside. A pristine, expansive towel was spread across the couch. Ethan carefully laid out his tools, oils, warm towels, a small Bluetooth speaker. Each item a promise of the work to come. The strains of music started to fill the air. Gentle piano melodies. Avoiding the usual spa tropes. Something more ancient. Take your time. A soft murmur woven through the melody. I shall begin with your shoulders and neck, he remarked. Please inform me if anything feels amiss. I inclined my head in agreement, then reclined onto my stomach. It unfolded at a measured pace. It lacked any trace of nervousness. His palms radiated warmth. Intentional. Silence. He neither kneaded nor prodded as other therapists might. He paid attention. Using his hands, it seemed as though he was inquiring, "Are you still present?" Then Ethan began to speak. His voice, gentle yet piercing, managed to penetrate a realm untouched for years. Do you sense anything in this place? Or are you merely attempting to numb your emotions entirely? It nearly brought me to tears. Not due to the pain. Yet, that inquiry was not intended for my physical form. It was intended for all that I had concealed within it. I propped myself up. I have rewrapped my robe. Ethan meticulously gathered his tools, each piece finding its place in the worn leather bag. He averted his gaze. Did not tarry. Should you wish to make another reservation, you are welcome to do so. There's no need for a reason, he remarked. At times, the body requires a gentle nudge to acknowledge its own vitality. Not a single word escaped my lips. Merely inclined the head in acknowledgement. Then the door was closed. Without any makeup. Without lipstick. Merely skin. I rested my hand softly on my shoulder. And after a long stretch of silence, I finally whispered, I remain present. The following week I made another booking for him. Not due to the return of the pain. It had not. Yet, in its stead, something new had emerged. A subtle, unspoken pain that eluded my understanding. It was not located in my shoulders. It resided within my breath. The rhythm of my heart. The way I gazed out the window, lingering longer after that initial session, as if I were anticipating something forbidden, something I dared not desire. I reassured myself that I was merely preserving my momentum. It was quite clever, proactive. Yet, beneath the surface I was aware. I had no intention of scheduling a massage. I was making my way back to the singular sanctuary in my existence where I felt truly cared for. Ethan made his entrance precisely on schedule once more. Identical shirt. Unwavering stillness lingers. The case remains as compact as ever. Yet, an undeniable change had occurred. Within me. Perhaps within him as well. Shall we turn our attention to the back once more? He inquired. There was a moment of uncertainty. Anywhere, I replied. In whatever place you believe I've lost my way. He remained silent, offering no verbal reply. He merely nodded, arranged the table and softened the lights. Not any closer. Not excessively intrusive. Yet even more in harmony. As his hands glided over my upper back, they transcended mere pressure on muscle. They paid attention. To attention I had not previously recognized. To the quiet I had confused for tranquility. He remained silent. Yet within that silence, he uttered words my body had longed to hear for years. I perceive you. Your suffering is acknowledged and honored. I shall not push it aside. Nestled in the space that lies between the foundation of my spine and the crest of my rib cage, something within me shattered. I'm uncertain about what set it off. Perhaps it was the heaviness of his hand lingering for just a moment longer. Perhaps it was the manner in which the background music transitioned into a minor key. Perhaps it was the realization that I had not experienced such a touch, not driven by desire but by tenderness, in more than 10 years. Yet, in an instant my breath caught in my throat. And then, tears began to flow. Initially without a sound. Then a sob slipped free. Then yet another. When tears fall, many tend to retreat. They express their regrets. They are engulfed by a wave of panic. Yet Ethan pressed on. His hands remained precisely in place, firm, unwavering. Unsettling. Here it is. Take your time. There are no inquiries. He uttered in a gentle tone. Everything will be fine. And that caused my tears to flow even more fiercely. As I propped myself up, my eyes swollen and my heart feeling empty, he offered me a warm towel. No inquiries have emerged yet. There shall be no inquiries. At times the liberation doesn't reside within the muscle, he remarked. Within it lies the memory that has been carefully preserved. I chose not to reply. I was unable to. Yet, on that day my perception of him shifted. Not through allure. In a state of wonder. It was remarkable that a man so young and so reserved could create a space for emotions I had long suppressed since the end of my marriage. Once more. A rhythm emerged from our collaboration. Each Thursday at 7 o'clock. He consistently introduced a fresh concoction of essential oils. He would often inquire, "Is it the same pressure as before?" I consistently replied in the affirmative. Yet, what transpired between us was scarcely influenced by any sense of pressure. With each passing week, my preparations would take on a new form. I've begun to apply lotion once more, grooming my hair in anticipation of his arrival, setting a gentle candle upon the windowsill. Not that I sought his attention, yet it was driven by my own desire. For the first time in years, I found myself beginning to care about the body I inhabited. I found myself stirring to the sensation of my own skin. One evening, as I reclined on the table, he lingered at my lower back. His hands came to a halt. I cracked my eyelids just enough to let in a sliver of light, my face nestled deep within the soft embrace of the towel. He remained silent. Yet I sensed it. The pause of uncertainty. The acknowledgement. Not the kind of tension that stirs desire. There is no impropriety. A profound essence. In that hushed instant, an unspoken understanding enveloped us both. This transcends the realm of mere massage. A transition unfolds, bridging the realm of muscle and memory. From flesh to the divine. And yet neither of us stirred. As he departed that evening, I accompanied him to the threshold. He pivoted, gazed upon me, maintained eye contact for an extended moment, then spoke plainly. You no longer fade into the background. For the first time in years, I placed my trust in someone. Thursday arrived. The day I would not denote with ink on my calendar, but rather with the subtle ways my body began to ready itself for it. I prepared the tea in a new way. I ignited a candle 20 minutes prior. I donned the robe that I had set aside solely for my own indulgence. Yet, on that Thursday, the message arrived at precisely 6:42 p.m. Marianne, I regret to inform you that I must reschedule our session this evening. A surprising turn in family dynamics. I trust this message finds you in good spirits. Ethan. Merely a collection of words. Respectful. Expert. Yet, their impact was more profound than I had anticipated. More challenging than they ought to have been. I reclined on the couch, my hands retaining the warmth from the towels I had just folded, though they would remain untouched. For the first time in weeks, the room resonated with the essence of what it had always been before his arrival. Silence. Yet, void. The experience transcended the mere act of receiving a massage. It transcended the confines of my back, shoulders, or neck. It was the expanse, the essence of existence, the ceremony. He entered the room with an effortless grace, not seeking to mend my fractures, yet somehow I felt a little less shattered in his presence. In the stillness of that night a truth emerged, one I had long kept hidden from myself. I longed for the sensation he evoked within me, the feeling of being alive in another's thoughts. Even in the absence of hands, his care remained, a gentle presence that refused to fade. After a span of 2 days, I composed and dispatched the initial message. I trust that all is well with you. There's no urgency to set a new date. I simply wish to express my gratitude, thank you, for the realm you conjure. He replied in mere moments. How about we grab a coffee together sometime soon? There is no massage table available. Free from oils. Merely a pair of soles. If that suits you well. My gaze lingered on the screen. No suggestion was offered.
No flirtaschen.
There is no hook. Merely a proposal. To encounter. As peers. We selected a location I had yet to explore. Somewhere in the space that lay between my home and the place he called his own. He remained silent and I chose not to inquire. We had forged an unusual silent bond, one that thrived without the necessity of specifics. It was a quaint corner cafe, adorned with warm wooden accents and lined with bookshelves, where the soft strains of old jazz records floated through the air from dusty speakers. Upon my entrance, he rose to his feet, forever clad in black, yet remained subtle, still observing me as one might observe the shifting of the seasons. He drew forth the chair. I took a seat. There is no barrier separating us any longer. There is no stillness crafted by the glow of lights and the flicker of candles. Merely the essence of air. An inhale. And presence. We never broached the subject of touch. Our conversation did not venture into the realms of backs, knots, or pressure points. We reminisced about our early years. His initial role in a nursing home, where he discovered the delicate art of grasping a wrist to check a pulse, as though it held significance. His mother. She imparted to me that touch holds a sacred significance, he remarked. Yet it hinges on your willingness to hear. I inquired about the reasons behind his departure from the wellness center, where he was previously employed. They ceased to hear, he remarked. Began to offer delight rather than mere existence. I took a delicate sip of my tea. I understand that sensation, I murmured. The cafe was left desolate. The sky transformed into a profound blue, a hue that lingers solely in the moments between sunset and the encroaching darkness. He cast his gaze in my direction, not with a ravenous appetite, not with audacity, with a brutal honesty that he had always possessed, even in silence. He then spoke with great care. I have no desire to make contact with you once more, unless you desire to be completely revealed. My hands quivered with a subtle intensity, not from a place of fear, but from a deep understanding of his intent. It was not a summons to any corporeal engagement. A question lingered in the air. A humble request. To seek approval. to perceive me beyond mere flesh or pain or ceremony, yet as a woman, in a state of yearning, in its entirety. What sent chills down my spine was, I found myself wanting to say yes. We refrained from any contact that night. Without hands. Do not lean forward.
Non-intended touches.
Upon returning home, I shed my robe and gazed into the mirror. Completely. Refrained from passing judgment. No need for repairs. Merely to gaze. After more than 10 years, I held my gaze steady. We refrained from labeling it as an appointment. There existed neither a time slot nor an invoice, nor any confirmation message to be found. A fleeting instant, gentle, quiet, and unarticulated, that gave rise to yet another. 3 days following the cafe encounter, Ethan sent a message. If you wish, I can pay you a final visit. Not in the capacity of your therapist. Like an individual attuned to the world, capable of perceiving through touch. I perused it 5 times. Subsequently inscribed. Indeed. Yet, it is crucial for us to grasp that this has transcended the realm of healing. It revolves around truthfulness. A moment later, his reply arrived. That is the sole form of touch I have ever truly believed in. It was not the lighting. It was not the fragrance. I was the one. I had ceased to await my own repair. I wasn't folding towels or preparing tea merely as a means to conceal myself within the embrace of routine. I had indeed brushed my hair, ignited a candle's flame. Indeed. However, I had no intention of being remarkable. I was getting ready to be there. He remained motionless, a figure etched against the backdrop of the world around him. Identical gaze. Unchanged tranquility. Yet, on this occasion he left the case behind. Free from oils. No props needed. Merely himself. I moved to the side. He stepped inside. In that moment the silence enveloped us, resonating with a weight greater than any words we had ever exchanged. He refrained from inquiring about the source of the pain. He failed to inquire about my needs. He merely slipped behind me. A soft hand rested on my shoulder, and let it go. Not upon my skin, yet with me. That singular breath we shared, slow, whole, and hushed, was the most profound intimacy I had felt in years. He led me to the couch. I took a seat. He lowered himself to the ground beside me. With a gentle touch, he traced the contours of my arms, glided over the back of my hands, and lingered at my wrist. Not in pursuit. Not enticing. Coming back. As though every fragment of my being had floated away, and he was securing it once more. Not out of shame. Yet it stems from trust. His hands glided over my collarbone, lingering at the base of my throat, where countless words had been trapped for far too long. He refrained from pressing the matter. He refrained from inquiring. He merely placed his palm there, a quiet gesture of stillness. Silently. With conviction. And I sensed a surge within me. Not a yearning. Free from blame. Authorization. Fear grips me, I confessed. Not from you. Of being unveiled. Of enjoying it. He inclined his head in acknowledgement. Remained silent. Instead, he inclined his body forward. And leaned his forehead against my shoulder. That was everything. It was not a kiss. It is not a step forward. Only flesh against flesh. Inhale, exhale. Similar to a prayer. That night no garments were shed. Cease the lamentations. There is no peak.
No fireworks.
Yet with every place he caressed, my hands, my spine, the tender curve behind my knee, it was as if he inscribed a fresh sentence upon skin that had long forgotten it was a canvas. Tears streamed down my face. Not weeping. Only tiny breathless tears. Akin to the body releasing long-held sorrow. In the end, he chose not to ask for a place to remain. He refrained from kissing me. He gently pressed my hand to his lips, and pressed his lips to my knuckles as if they were a cherished relic. In that moment he rose to his feet, gazed upon me, and uttered, I did not arrive here to lay claim to you. I have arrived to behold you. And then he departed. No door was slammed. There are no commitments offered. No arrangements made. The mere fragrance of heated flesh. And a feeling stirred within me. At long last, yielding to gentleness. That night I reclined in bed, my palms turned skyward, resting against the ceiling. There exists nothing that separates me from the air. Without expectation. Without a hint of embarrassment. For the first time since my divorce. As motherhood hushed my longings. As womanhood transformed into a mere function. I murmured, "This is my vessel." And I find myself immersed once more. Ethan failed to return the following week. No follow-up occurred. No, "How do you feel?" No recommendations for rescheduling. No witty words to unlock the entrance once more. Yet, there remained a trace of what he had once held dear. Not a single trace of him. Yet a path leading me back to my essence. I awoke without a single ache in my body. Not in my neck. Not in my shoulders. Not in the hollow beneath my ribs where loneliness once curled itself into a tight ball. I elongated my body languidly in the bed. My limbs relaxed, my skin enveloped in warmth. I brushed my fingers against my own wrist. After a long stretch of time, I stood resolute, unyielding in the face of my own existence. For weeks I refrained from booking him once more. Not that I lacked the desire. Yet, it was only when I grasped the distinction of longing for someone's hands that clarity emerged, and requiring their approval to attain a sense of completeness. He had accomplished his purpose. Do not disturb my slumber. Yet to awaken me to the truth that I was never truly in slumber. Simply uninvited. I started to shift my movements. I no longer hurried by my own reflection. I ceased to express regret through my stance. I brewed the tea with deliberate care. My fingers glided over my collarbone, tracing its contours as if I had just rediscovered an ancient map, its secrets now clear to me. In the heart of my living room, I stood clad only in a thin t-shirt, savoring the way the cold air caressed the edges of my skin. I was not acting for a man, not pausing for his glance. I found myself in the presence of the woman I once was. 3 weeks later, his name illuminated my screen. Dear Marianne, I have contemplated reaching out to you, yet I have refrained. Not from afar but from reverence. You once confessed to a fear of being vulnerable. Yet you chose to open it regardless. And then you remained receptive. Such a rarity. Your words brought to mind that touch transcends mere skin. It revolves around the concept of granting consent. I appreciate the opportunity to listen. Ethan. I lingered with the message for what felt like an eternity. Did not respond immediately. I held back my tears. I have just set my phone aside and shut my eyes with a tenderness I had long since lost touch with. After the passage of an hour, I put pen to paper. Ethan, you were never the end point. You were the threshold I had long overlooked, waiting for the key to turn once more. I will not be scheduling another session. Yet I am carrying forward a journey that you played a part in starting. This time I shall remain fully engaged in the moment. The tale did not conclude with a romance. There is no affair. There is no hidden relationship. No grand reappearance or romantic embrace amidst the downpour. It concluded with a woman. At last she embraced the entirety of her being. It concluded in silence. That is the sole type of conclusion that carries significance. Many believe that touch is solely a matter of hands. Concerning the concept of pressure, dermis, motion. Yet the most profound touch I have ever experienced came from a man who never sought to possess me. He failed to mend my wounds. He remained motionless for a time, to listen to my own voice. In the past, I resided in a realm of quietude. Yet now, I reside within my own skin, and I shall remain.